everyone, I'm Lisa Dobry and I am the guest designer for Stencilgirl products today. I'm thrilled to be here and I thank you so much for the opportunity. I think I have redone this video at least 20 times, and each time I redo it there's a part that I like and a part that I don't like, and I've been stressing over it for days now, and so I have just decided, instead of trying to bring you a perfect video, I'm just going to invite you to come and hang out with me. Come have a play date. Come sit with me in the art studio. Let's play. It's a lot less pressure. I don't do well under pressure. So I have to tell you, when this opportunity first came about, I was really pretty freaked out. I was really thinking, you know, I should not do this. It's way beyond anything that I've done. I have no idea what to bring, you know, to you all. And then I started thinking about it, and I thought, well, you know, sometimes the things that are most challenging are where your biggest amounts of growth come from. So I had decided to just go ahead and type in thanks for the opportunity, and let's do this. Picking out the stencils was actually really the easy part. They all just kind of came together. There was a really nice flow. The first one that popped into mind was this lovely Opera House by Carolyn Dubie. I lived in Paris for about a year and a half when I was in my early 20s, so this one just really spoke to me. It's kind of ghost-like, vintagey, just really love that. The next stencil that we're going to be working with is from Cecilia Swatton, and it is right in line with the Opera House, the vintage script. This flowy movement is just wonderful to work with. Love this. In our background, I will be using two of my favorites from Gwen LaFleur, the ornamental compass and the ornamental petals. I just keep looking up names to make sure I get them right. The next stencil kind of came about as an accident. When the opportunity came up, I was sitting with one of my girlfriends. We were drinking wine, and I was telling her about the opportunity. And she's not an artist, and so she's really never even seen the Stencilgirl website. So I took her out on it. I was showing her the stencils that I had already picked out, and she saw this one by Pam Carricker, Behind the Mask. And she goes, "Look at that one. That one would be perfect with the Opera House." And it wasn't on my radar, but I thought, you know what? She's absolutely right. It's phenomenal. What's interesting is this particular stencil became really a prominent focal point in this whole process. It was you know, the struggle that I'm having of actually like getting this done and feeling comfortable with everything. It's kind of the two faces that I have. You know, this one, the dark side, that keeps saying, you don't have a clue, you don't know what you're doing, you can't do this is well beyond you. And then the other one that says, you can do this, just breathe through it, it'll be fine. So this really came together. And then after I had picked those out and just about finished up the whole thought process, Carolyn Dubie released this one, The Dance of This Life. And I had to add it in. This dancer, this ballerina right here, is absolutely phenomenal with this, with the rest of these pieces. So once the stencils arrived and I started playing with things, we had another big problem, because what I had envisioned in my brain from a theme perspective, all of these work together, but from a proportion perspective, they don't really work. The Opera House with this, and then with this, and then it just, they're all, you know, this one's too small, these are too big. And rather than trying to change what I had in my brain, I decided to keep playing with it and figure out a way to take this and make it work on something like this 18 by 24 tablet of paper. Yeah, but the good news is I figured it out, and it really works. It works really well. So come on, come with me, and the first thing I'm going to do is show you how to stretch this out to something more proportional for the other stencils, like maybe a 18 by 20. Here we have the Opera House. As you can see, our 8 by 10 stencil is quite small for the 18 by 24 if we're going to use this as a complete background. So what we're going to be doing is stretching this out so that it's this length plus half on this side and this extending out on this side. I tried to just take this edge here and overlap it with this edge or flip them upside down, and it really didn't work. So what we're going to do is we're going to be paying attention to the fact that the center finial is higher than these other two external pieces. We're going to leave this and this out of our first pass, and then we're going to come back over and extend this arch and this arch when we hit our sides. Okay. I'm going to be a little bit on the sloppy side here because this is just a piece of scratch paper so that you can get the idea of what we're doing. So this is not good stenciling technique, but it gets it done fast. Okay, so there we have our base. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back over here and we are going to lay our center finial over our end finial. And it's not going to line up exact, so you've got to pick a spot. What I found is looking at these circular pieces, that's your best spot for laying out. Everything else kind of lines up then, as long as your finial circle lines up with the last piece. And we pick that up, it looks very nice. And then we're going to come over to this side and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to find our finial and line up our center finial, but not the top of the finial. Again, go to the circular part that's under. Voila. Okay, so we have a nice length, but now we have to increase the height a little bit. So we're going to take our stencil and flip it upside down. This is not going to be a real exact kind of thing, and for me it didn't really matter. I just wanted to extend this piece down so it's not quite so short. When I did this, I just used a light stroke, kind of pulled the paint down in a motion, not being real exact with it. And then you could even come back in a little lightly if you'd like and just kind of, got a little thick there, but and you might have to play with this bottom part a little bit, you know, depending on how it lays on your background, but it certainly does give it a end appearance. And you've got your width and you've got your added height. When we go to the actual painting itself, you'll see that this is blended in a lot better on the bottom. Okay, and here's another modification we're making using the vintage script. As you saw in the video, we went ahead and stenciled in the ME and then the James with the line, but we're not going to finish this part over here. We're going to slide this up to the top of the page and then stencil it. You just get a better fill in on the paper being this size. Okay, I did just play with one of these off camera just to kind of see how it would work. What I really don't want is like a lot of exactness on this. I want it to be very, I guess, kind of ghost-like. So I'm working with a set of pan pastels, and I'm going to just be very loose with this, and we can go in and fill in some other details later. But for now, just going to use my finger. I guess they're each coming out a little bit differently. I'm just kind of following. Okay, I think for now, right now, I think that works, and we'll go back in and add some detailing once we, place them on the main page. So I'm going to go back now with the X-Acto knife and cut these out. I won't keep that on film, so I won't keep you here all day, but we'll be back with you shortly. Okay, I've got the dancers finished, and I didn't spend a lot of time putting in highlights and that sort of thing. I just wanted a little bit of shading done on them. We'll figure it out after we get it on the main piece. But you can see I just went over a couple of the edges with some white acrylic paint that was pretty watered down on top of the pan pastels. If we take them and we move them over to our base, let's take a peek. Oh yeah. I think that should work pretty good. I think we'll be okay. All right, we are on the final component of our project, and that would be creating the mask, the Pam characters behind the mask stencil. What I did on the piece that you've seen is I started off with a piece of music, and I then took the Titan buff and just randomly, lightly just kind of swirled some on there so that you could still see a lot of the paper underneath it. I just didn't want to have white paper. So if you look, here's the other half of it. You can kind of just see it. Okay. If you don't have music paper, you have all kinds of options. Anything that can create just a little bit of irregularity in your background. After I finished this project, I found this on my shelf, and I was thinking, ooh, this would have been really good. This is Tim Paul's Eology tissue wrap. And it's kind of like Gelli paper, so this would work really lovely. Rubber stamps on your background, and then put the Titan Buff over the top of it. Whatever you have handy, just to give it some background. For paint on the stencil, I wanted to move a little bit away from the browns that we did in the Opera House, but I still wanted to keep it kind of dark and antique-y. So I used the micaceous iron oxide along with the Payne's gray, and I believe this is the same mixture that we used for the vintage script, so it's got a nice complement. And then to create some of the shadowing, now I'll be honest with you, shadowing is not really one of my strengths. So I kind of cheated. I went out to Stencilgirl Products website under Pam Carricker, where she shows this mask. And she gives you a couple of really beautiful samples of her work. And if you look on them, it'll show you exactly where to shade in on this face to make it stand out. And then I just used a couple of pencils to give it those shadows. These are just Pitt pencils from Faber-Castell. This one is, I don't even see a color on it. I guess it's kind of a black, and this one's a brown. So it worked real well. Add a little bit of water from a brush to get it smudged out. Here we are, a finished project. I want to thank you all for coming and playing with me and being a part of this journey. I really enjoyed putting it together. I hope that you liked the project, and I hope you found a little bit of inspiration and maybe a new way of looking at a couple of your stencils. Hope you have a great day. Go get some paint out, pull out your stencils, make it an art day.